From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Back here in the studio with the Deja Studdard, a Fox 59 comedian, makeup artist, so many things. And soon-to-be talk show host, too. We're going to get her a show here on Fox 59 Now. Deja, if you had to have a talk show, we talked about going 3D, the deep dive with Deja. Is it the deep dive with Deja or the Deja deep dive?
The deep dive with Deja.
There you go. There you go.
Let's go deep.
That's right. Let's go inside.
Yeah.
So, what's the show? What will the show be about?
We're going to talk about hot topics, relevant things that people have a strong opinion on. And we're going to speak to a professional. And then I also want to hear your story and so your side of it. And so we're just going to talk about, say, for example, we talk about weight loss. We're going to talk about somebody who has lost weight and somebody who has experienced that. And then we're going to talk to a professional about what that looks like and how that shows up. And then I'm really excited about this segment, Cam. We're going to take it to the streets.
Okay.
I'm excited to go down to, say, Broad Ripple, Fountain Square, downtown Indianapolis, and actually speak one-on-one to people, ask them questions about whatever the subject, whatever the topic may be. It could be about, it'll change through the week. And so I'm really excited about that segment, and I'm really excited to hear more stories about what's going on in Central Indiana. And so I want to make sure that we have that professional side of it, but also that story side of it.
And how often is the show going to be a thing?
It's going to be weekly.
Okay.
And it's going to have a corresponding article with it. And you know what? I may even do a corresponding open mic, or a little comedy set,
inside
on what the topic is, because I got my own stories and too with many of the topics that'll be presented.
All right. So, what's our first topic going to be? What's near and dear to you?
Something that makes people, really, really upset, and really excited. The idea for the first episode, we may just have to talk about dating and the landscape of what it is here in Indianapolis.
I hear it's not good.
Well, yeah, I think to say the least. And so that might be, a first topic. And I mentioned weight loss as or weight loss shots, right? That's another softer topic, but we're gonna go a little deeper too. We're gonna talk about things like, say, for example, gun violence, and how that impacts people and so forth. And so the subjects are going to vary, but they're always going to be relevant to what is going on in our culture and right now in our community.
Where is the let's start with dating. What's the scene, and where's the worst place you would meet somebody in Indianapolis?
Oh my God, Hinge.
Okay.
that at least that's been the worst place for me personally.
On the
apps, dating apps. Oh my God, these people are horrible. Or at least, maybe they're just the people that have come across my screen. I personally had to throw in the towel. I had to give it up. I cannot do it because the people are just too wild, just too ridiculous. You know what though? It's comedy gold. I tell you that much. But it's not okay with my peace. But another hot thing and is Pop the Balloon. People, we have a local show called Pop the Balloon, and people have been going on there. And so,
what kind of success are people getting on the local edition of Pop the Balloon?
Well, as far as I know, I think it has been, if nothing else, a really great space for the community to have conversation on and to enjoy each other's company. Because it is, I actually spoke to, his name is Too Cold, Corey. I wrote a story about him on Valentine's Day. And so maybe I'll have to, he would be a great person to have on the show. And speak about dating and speaking about, what do you wear and what do you say? And so, having a professional that maybe comes to help us and navigate through that extremely hardship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably anywhere, but certainly Indianapolis or Central Indiana.
So your talk show, who we talked about the comedians, what talk show host? You're like, I'm gonna take some notes from there.
I mean, that's just easy. Oprah Winfrey,
Oprah.
of course. But I mean, there are other people like Rachel Maddow,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Joy Reid,
Mm-hmm.
Robin Meade.
Mm-hmm.
Those are more on the newsy side of
Mm-hmm.
things. I even really love for right now I really love Sherry Shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
because I think she has a soft. She brings in that funny, humor side, but that I also like that hard journalism as well, because that's what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
Is we tell stories and we put them out there, and I love the way that Rachel Maddow will convey a story.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and I watched Rachel Maddow and I watched Oprah Winfrey, and the very first episode that Oprah Winfrey ever did was on dating. That was her very first episode, was on what to do with your spouse, and how to manage and how to navigate that situation. So I was like, you know what, if Oprah could do it, that's how she started, maybe that would be a good start for me too, because people definitely have very strong
Mm-hmm.
opinions on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
you know
I'm on my radio show, which by the way y'all can listen to Sunday mornings on 106.7 WTLC and Hot 100.9.
Come on, plug.
I plug this show on the radio every week, so
Come on, plug.
we got to have some synergies. Got to be back and forth because I'm trying to get my Steve Harvey on, be on
Look,
TV, and do the
you
radio.
already got it going on.
I'm trying. I'm trying to do it. So,
Trying.
well, on the radio, I always say I do like a little Rachel Maddow monologue to start off the show
Yeah.
because I'm getting the callers, I'm giving them the backstory of what we're about to talk about. So I get that part. I like that because it draws, usually because what she's trying to do is this thing that might be insignificant that happened in the past is actually connected to exactly what is happening right now. And then that brings your attention to, oh, that's what's going on, or didn't realize that was still a problem.
And that's connected.
Yes.
And so being able to weave, and I think in what's, again, whether it's comedy or journalism, being able to say it in a digestible way that people understand it, I think is the biggest deal.
Do you know what I just found out about Rachel Maddow?
What'd you find out?
That every night she wears the same thing.
Oh God, yeah.
That
was obvious.
I never noticed it until recently.
Now come on, Cam.
I know, and I used to. I don't watch as much now. Well, because she's not on every night; she's just on Mondays.
Week, yeah.
But I only noticed because of a commercial that they did, and it was her from different nights where she's saying the different things, and I was like,
you can't even tell which night is which.
Well, her hairstyle and stuff was different.
Yeah.
The backgrounds are different. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
She wears black suit, black shirt.
Black. Yeah.
Every night. I was like, why have I never noticed this?
Yeah.
So that's her signature.
Yeah.
And if you happen to watch Jen Paskey, who does the other 4 nights, she's kind of doing the opposite. She's wearing white a lot. All white.
I do see that she wears white a lot.
Yes. You gotta make your mark.
Yeah, for sure.
And Rachel's do you know her tagline? Watch the space. And then she takes a break. So after she makes her point, she always watch the space. Dramatic pause. Fade to black. Also on your show, you said you're gonna talk about weight loss and the shot. Because people feel like it's cheating. You either have people who feel like it's cheating, or you have people who are like, what are the effects going to be of taking that years from now? And I think because I struggle with my weight. It goes up and down all the time. And then last year when my wife was pregnant, every time she ate, I would eat. And
that's been a good.
Well, she'd be like, I'm gonna order some country kitchen. You want something? I'm like,
if I have to,
you order me some smothered pork chops. I mean, I could eat. And I did. And so then my weight goes up and down. And then of course you notice it because I'm on TV. So like you can go back and watch clips and you're like,
oh no,
I was really thin there. Where I was like,
you're like gradually getting bigger every episode.
Or but it's up and down.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's up and down. So I was like, man, I was really fit right there. And then
Yeah.
it's like, whoo, that jacket was a little snug on that episode there. But so I would take the shot because I'm like, everybody wants to be healthy, wants to be thin. So like
Yeah.
the thing about I remember when I was younger, I was too skinny. Everybody in my family would talk about how thin I was.
Well, that ain't never been my problem.
Yeah. I was all thin and bony. And then, as I got older, I started gaining weight, and then I'm like, damn, you been eating now, boy.
Oh no!
And it's like, dang, y'all not gonna be happy either way. If before I was too skinny
and you look sick.
Yeah, now I'm too fat. Like, what do you want from me? So, I say that to say you got to lose. If you're going to lose weight and you want to take the shot, you got to do it for you because it's going to make you feel better because the people are going to have something to say no matter what.
No matter what you decide, whether it's the regular way. And then now people, even if they don't do things, they get accused of it. They're like, oh, you took the shots. Oh, you did the surgery. Oh, you did sonabella. Oh, you did this. I did what I believed was best for me. And that's that. And so I think that's a really big part of the conversation. And I know all too well about weight fluctuation. I could talk that down. I could talk that up and down. I know so much about it, and joining gyms and that whole sphere, that's a whole other world. And how much should you pay? I was paying like $185 a month for a gym, and that can take a big dent to your pockets. Certainly costs more, or it costs less to have a shot, which that's about $60 a month, depending on the kind of shot you get.
And there's a scam that I wish I would have started a business with, owning a gym, because you have like the Planet Fitness membership, and then you don't go, and they quietly take it. Like, they don't remind you that they don't send you an alert like, hey, gonna take payment out this month. You haven't been in the gym in 6 months, but you paid for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's business I should have done.
Well, you know what? It's not too late.
It is
Even
not.
though I will say, gyms in some capacity, because of the shots, some people have said the gyms are starting to struggle a little bit more because people are taking the shot. They're seeing weight loss and they're feeling like, well, I don't have to do so much.
But you got to keep it off.
There's a balance. I know. And see, that's the tangle web we weave.
Yes, because I've lost and then gained some of it back.
Like, oh.
And I'd be like, I don't got to go to the gym today. I'm going to go ahead and have this extra piece of cake because we looking good. We looking slim. Look, jacket is doing, I'm going to reward myself.
Oh, no. That's how you get it. You can't reward yourself that way.
Yes.
You can't reward yourself even by buying stuff, because that'll get you in a whole other, you're like, oh, I'm not going to buy this chocolate chip cookie. Instead, I'm going to buy this $100 pair of shoes. And now all of a sudden you got two problems, because you still got the weight, and now you've got I've spent money on something else. So it's a balance.
So, okay, so we got dating. So I'm looking forward to hearing the conversations about weight loss. And of course, and then the other part of the weight loss thing is just like we went through with the COVID vaccines. What is this doing to you? It's like, hey, look, man, I don't know what it's going to do to me in 50 years, but I also don't know what that can of Red Bull is doing, or that food that I ate earlier. But I know in the meantime, if it makes you lose weight and you're living a healthier life,
and people are seeing their blood sugars go down to healthy levels, their blood pressure go to healthy levels, their cholesterol go to healthy levels. But people are still finding a way to say that they're lazy and they're not trying, and they'll never know what'll happen. Usually there will perhaps be one horror story where something really bad happens to someone, and so this becomes like the poster child that people use, and they go to this. But it's like, well, there may have been a horror story, and there may have been a backstory to that, but there are all these other people, literally millions of people, who have had wins because of this, which a phenomenon that I think may have started with Oprah Winfrey, or it maybe started on the TikTok train. But when Oprah Winfrey, she said, when she was talking about shots, that's when I think people started to feel more free. When she came out in her
Mm-hmm.
purple, and she was as slim as all get out, that's when I called up my pharmacist and said, let me find out, let me know what's good, sir. And so I had tried to get the Wegovy, and he was like, this is just like finding gold.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even at the time. This was like maybe a year. Yeah, this was about a year ago. He was like, this is just like gold. You just can't. It's just not accessible. And so, it's different now because they have reached stock on these different things. And so, you never know the kind of success you had. I tried Wegovy. I didn't really have a lot of success with that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I changed to Zepbound,
Mm-hmm.
that was manufactured by Lilly.
Okay.
And
Buying locally.
yeah, 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 so, right. That's a good way to look at it, right? And I had a little bit more success with that one.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
What's
So
our
I've
results? You
lost
did.
30 pounds. I know.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, the thing is though, it still takes you doing your part.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like there's a narrative where you can just eat whatever you want.
Right. Like the people think you're taking these shots and then also running over to Krispy Kreme
Yeah.
and eating whatever you want at the same time.
Yeah, and that's not true, and that at least hasn't been. I wish it was true. I
Mm-hmm.
wish they would
Mm-hmm.
make that shot. But that has not been my story. You still have to do your part, and you still have to, diet and exercise all the same, or you won't see the weight loss come off. The good thing for me is that I will say this is that I haven't seen much weight like come back on.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you retreat or
Mm-hmm.
you don't do as good or you don't have as good as a day. But I think there are some times where I think if had I not been on the shot, I probably would have gained weight a little bit faster.
How long does it take? How long do you take it? Like, is it periods? Like, how does it? There's a constant.
It's periods, and so you grow on it. So
Mm-hmm.
you start off with one shot, and it may be like 2 milligrams, and then it like graduates. So it might go. I'm just gonna make these numbers up, but
Mm-hmm.
2, 4, 6, 8, and so every month it gets a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and your tolerance gets a little bit higher,
Mm-hmm.
or it should. Some people don't have a good tolerance for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'll say this, stay near a bathroom, maybe
Ah, okay. I understand that.
if you first start, because
You guys got to flush out the system.
yeah, it's gotta do work as
Mm-hmm.
juices,
Mm-hmm.
it's magic,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But every level, initially I didn't, I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. It's like a little stomach, not pain, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say pain.
Discomfort.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of you have a stomach that maybe feels uneasy,
Mm-hmm.
if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a queasy. I never felt like nauseated or anything, um, but that is the experience and story of some people.
So you should bring in a doctor when you do your show.
Exactly.
And
And you never know how you meet people. So I was at Mac Cosmetics and I was talking to a young lady. I was doing her makeup and she goes, "Oh, I work at Lilly. Oh yeah, I'm connected to, this person and that
Mhm.
person and the other person." And it was like, so you just gotta that's the other cool thing about, working in a mall, working in news is, you gotta be able to, pivot and you can meet people in anytime, anywhere, and you just never know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so dating, weight loss. What was the other?
Dating, weight loss, I said gun violence,
Gun violence. Yeah, of course we
but
cover a lot of that.
yeah, we cover our fair share of that. But I'm interested in a lot of different topics as they relate, even in other ways. I was talking to a lady and she was talking about how she was a widow and how she navigates life, where she was married to someone for 34 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do you, if you've been with someone for 30 years, how do you navigate grief? And so having an episode on grief
Mm-hmm.
and how do you move forward from losing someone that was so close to you, that you were around or that you spoke to every day. It doesn't have to be a significant other. How do you move past that and how do you move forward from that? So there are a lot of different avenues, but I just want to make sure I keep that human side. And I'm always open to, someone telling me ideas and different things that they believe are important and stories that, should be shared. And so,
The gun violence one's always is a difficult topic because unfortunately I've been to lots of shooting scenes and I've been there as far too many times when the mom arrives and there is a scream that all the moms have, and then you always know the mom is here of the person who has been shot
yeah.
or deceased, and um, those they end up on the news during those times, but um, the grief part is the part that takes a long time because after the news coverage has moved on to unfortunately the next scene, um, that's when everybody's getting their thoughts and prayers and people are calling and checking on you, but it doesn't take too much time before people move on and you're
Yeah.
still dealing with
Yeah. It could be the same day,
yes,
even,
yes,
especially in
this
news
not yeah
wise,
this news cycle.
and certainly, the next few days. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is, I think, tough to navigate that space. And so I already have, connections with a few other people. Like D Ross,
Mm-hmm.
he has a specific group that are for women who have lost their children to gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm eager to speak with some of them who are, willing and able to share their story, which I think in and of itself is incredible and is strong, because that has to be hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Those will be some challenging that'd be a challenging show for you.
Yeah.
I look forward to watching it.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have a variety
Yeah.
deep dive with Deja.
Yeah.
Do we have a launch date yet?
You know, I was gonna do Juneteenth,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Which
it
is coming up.
yeah, so that's what we're looking at. It's tentative, it's
Okay.
preliminary, but
Okay.
that's what we're looking at.
All right. Well, when you are ready, this was a little practice run for
It
you
was a practice
of
run.
being
Thank
on
you, Dean.
camera, and I think you will do just fine. You'll be able to put a show together. For just I guess the only advice that I'm sure Twitter would have for you, the talk show host that people think is terrible.
Oh no,
Who
I
who
already
is it?
know. Jennifer
Hudson.
Hudson.
Yeah.
Oh no, no, poor thing. But people love the Spirit Tunnel.
Yes, love the
They
tunnel.
love that.
That's
That's
fun.
exciting.
Yes, but
The dance.
but it just goes to show that not everybody,
They need to respect our
yeah,
craft and our field
not
and what
everybody
we
can interview.
do. And it's unfortunate, like I like, that Tamron Hall has a show,
Hmm.
like because it does make me a little bit sad when I see so many singers and actors, and so forth. I'm like, come on, guys, you guys
Hmm.
get everything,
Hmm. Hmm.
you're like you guys already have all this stuff. And so
Hmm.
to see like real journalists in these positions, it does make a difference, because I sometimes I don't think people appreciate what journalists do and how it takes to navigate a conversation and to not overtalk someone, because it's
Hmm.
natural to, like, you have a point and I'm going to get your point,
Hmm.
and then you go back and forth. But I think it takes a lot, and then also doing your homework and doing your research, before an interview. I don't even know how you know all this stuff about me, you know.
Well, I
But
also listen, and that's what it is during this. I didn't have a list of prepared questions. I kind of told you like some of the directions we might go, what we might talk about, but really this has just been a conversation. I ask you a question, you give an answer, I'm listening to your answer, and then that is where I get the next question because I'm just and I think that's what makes it easier for me because I will do homework on people, but not to the point where I know every answer um unless I'm there's a type of interview for that.
yeah, there's a time and a place for that, and I
Yes.
understand that.
But with
Like
this it's
some of
like
them, like more political, something like
yes.
that sort. You got to know.
Like I know the answer, so come on, bring it to me, give it to
Yeah.
me straight. Whereas with this, I know enough about you and do enough homework on you that it's like, I'm curious about this. Instead of me trying to figure it out, I'm just going to ask her about it. And that's how we make the conversation go. And it goes, boom, before you know it, you're out of time.
Yeah.
So, by the way, we're out of time.
We're out of time.
See how we did that?
Thank you, Cam.
Deep dive with Deja. By the way, not only will you be able to see Deja's show once it launches here, and I'm feeling, have you got colors picked out? Like Deja's show to me is pink and purple.
Pink and purple?
No, not because I'm getting
pink and purple. Oh my goodness!
I'm getting Sherry vibes.
Sherry, is her colors pink and purple?
It's pink. She basically took Wendy's colors.
Oh.
So I feel you somewhere over there. We get you a pink chair.
I know, yeah, you know what? With a little fur on it.
Yes,
you know.
Exactly. It's exactly what I was thinking. It's exactly what I was thinking. Something to bounce off this pretty blue background here. So not only can you find, so we'll work on the colors and the branding, but not only can you find Deja when her show launches, but you will also be able to find Deja here, already hanging out with the stars. Shaka Khan right there. Boom. How was she?
Oh, she's wonderful. A legend. It was Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, Stephanie Mills. So she was very nice. And I love the meeting the stars. I met Janet Jackson. That's a big one. Lotto, Glorilla. You know, you know, it's fun to me.
You like to be out with the stars. So maybe
and
now.
that's why I'm sitting here with you.
Oh, stop. I'm just a school bus driver.
Now you know an owner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just drive the bus.
Don't put out that humble car with me.
Come do a little show.
I did my homework on you.
All right, Deja. We are out of time. That's going to do it for us. So make sure you guys follow Deja. It's Day by Deja on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, follow all of her fantastic reporting that she does on FOX59.com. You'll see her name in the headline space at the top of the story. So on stage, at the mall for makeup, FOX59.com for your news, FOX59 Now for the talk show, and Helium Club and wherever else for all the comedy. But we'll wrap it all up together into one on the Deja Show, on the Deep Dive.
Yeah, for
Deja.
sure.
All right, Deja, thank you. That's going to do it for this edition of Fox 59 tonight. I'll see you Sunday morning. Join me on the radio for Open Lines on 106.7 WTLC and Hot 100.9. We'll talk about everything that's happening from the White House to your house on Sunday morning. For now, I'm Cameron Riddle. Have a great night.